films, cassettes. Gosh, I miss those times, man.
The EC-665 Tiger HAP is a top-tier French premium helicopter currently in War Thunder. While this chopper used to be a pack premium, coming with 15 days of premium time as well as 2,000 Golden Eagles, it is now directly located inside the tech tree, on sale for 7,270 Golden Eagles, more commonly known as a GE Premium. While its more advanced cousin, the Tiger UHT in the German tech tree, is infamous for being blatantly overpowered, that isn't really the case with the HAP. This is mainly due to its design role. The French had two versions of the Eurocopter, the HAP and the HAD. The premium, the HAP, is more of a scout helicopter, whereas the HAD is more of the dedicated anti-tank variant, and can be found in the French tech tree. While this premium French helicopter is slightly weaker than the tech tree equivalent, it is still a powerful premium helicopter to own. But seeing as this helicopter is quite a few years old now, and the meta of War Thunder is always changing, is it still worth owning this premium? Well, stick around to find out. But let's get more acquainted with the Tiger HAP. As I've already said, this is a premium helicopter located in the 6th rank of the French tech tree, at a battle rating of 10.0 in realistic battles, and 10.3 in arcade and simulator battles. As I mentioned, it costs 7,270 Golden Eagles to unlock this helicopter, and to put it in your lineup, due to it being a premium helicopter, it'll only set you back 10,000 Silver Lions. Going on to the Expert and Ace qualifications for this helicopter, it'll set you back 1,660,000 for the Expert qualification, and 2,600 Golden Eagles for the Ace qualification. It's worth noting, however, that crew training in helicopters isn't particularly important, so you might want to save your cash and Golden Eagles. The repair cost in realistic battles is also pretty low, at only 3,500 Silver Lions. Going on to the rewards, and when playing a premium account and realistic battles, you can expect an RP modifier of 678% and a Silver Lion modifier of 795%. In terms of customization, you have the standard camouflage get stock with the helicopter, as well as a single camouflage unlocked for Golden Eagles. So lads, that's the introduction complete. Let's move on to the engine and survivability. Alright, the engine and survivability. And the first thing to mention is that this helicopter is powered by two Rolls-Royce engines, which combined give the helicopter a power output of 1,285 horsepower. These engines, in combination with the rather low weight of the helicopter, can get you up to a top speed of 300 km per hour at an altitude of 1,000 meters, and the helicopter itself can achieve a maximum altitude of 4,000 meters. As with all helicopters in the game, however, top speed isn't really a great indicator of performance. Like the German Tiger UHT and its bigger brother the Tiger HAD in the French lineup, the HAP variant of the Eurocopter is very agile as well as pretty speedy. It has a good ability to yaw, roll, as well as rapidly ascend and descend altitude. In my opinion, I'd say it's got a slightly bit better more performance than the Apaches, and certainly a lot better than the KA-50 and KA-52. The Eurocopters in many ways feel quite like the British G-Lynx. It's very nimble. You can pop up quickly, fire off a few missiles, and then quickly evade any incoming SPA missiles. In terms of survivability though, we do have quite a bit of protection around the cockpit area. We can see here that we do have a composite screen which is 20mm thick. This will mainly protect you from splintering, as well as explosive fragmentation. A direct hit here from anything larger than a 20mm is almost certainly going to penetrate and knock out at least one of your pilots. We then also have 5mm of Kevlar on the seats of both the pilot and the gunner. Again, this mainly protects you from fragmentary shrapnel, and isn't really going to protect you from any incoming rounds at this battle rating. So lads, the Tiger HAP is fast and manoeuvrable, but what about its hitting power? When the Tiger HAP Premium was first introduced, it was by far the most powerful premium helicopter in the game. I remember playing helicopter arcade battles, being absolutely clubbed by the Mistral missiles, which we'll cover shortly. The Tiger HAP had speed, manoeuvrability, and incredibly potent weapons, at least for the time. That kind of has changed now, and in helicopter arcade battles, it'll be the KA-50s doing the clubbing. That being said, your primary weapon on the Tiger HAP is the 30mm GIAT M781 cannon. You can carry 450 rounds of ammunition, and you have a fire rate of 720 rounds per minute. This is of course mounted in a flexible gimbal turret on the chin of the helicopter, The turret can rotate 115 degrees either side of the nose of the helicopter and can depress its gun 50 degrees, giving you pretty good firing arcs with this gun. The 30mm cannon does only have one belt type though, semi-armor piercing incendiary, giving you a pretty lackluster 16mm of penetration at a range of 500 meters. While this is pretty good for targeting light targets such as AA or howitzers, as well as fending off enemy fast jets, it isn't really got the power to punch through the tops of enemy tanks. So you can't really use this 30mm the same way you'd use the 30mm found on the KA-50 or the Apache gunship. We then also have two types of rockets, although I think this is kind of a glitch. First we have the 68mm TDA rockets. They travel at a maximum speed of 651 meters per second and have a high explosive anti-tank warhead. This warhead contains 275.2 grams of TNT, which is quite low. The high explosive anti-tank warhead however does give it 300mm of penetration against flat armor at all ranges, and when attacking armor angled at 60 degrees, it drops down to 150mm. And the next rockets are basically the exact same. These are the SNEBs though. They have identical maximum speeds, identical penetration, and identical TNT equivalent. I believe the name of these rockets is to do with how the rockets are carried. The SNEBs have a circular rocket pod, whereas the TDA rockets has more of a square one. Regardless of the naming configuration, the rockets are alright, they're not incredibly good. I don't really see a need to use them whatsoever to be honest, especially considering you can carry the next type of weapon, the HOT-3 air-to-ground missiles. These are SAKO guided or semi-active command line of sight. They travel pretty slowly at 250 meters per second and have an absolutely awful range of 4.3 kilometers. For comparison, the Hellfire missiles found on the Tiger HAP, also found in the French tech tree, has a maximum range of 8 kilometers, almost double what the HOT-3s can achieve. The HOT-3s do have a large TNT warhead though, containing 4.8 kilos of TNT. This warhead is high explosive anti-tank, which gives it 1250mm of penetration at all ranges, and when attacking armor angled at 60 degrees, that drops down to 625mm of penetration. The HOT-3 missiles are the only anti-tank missiles this helicopter gets access to, and while they do have very short range, they are incredibly potent if you can land a hit. The incredibly high TNT filler gives it absolutely insane post-penetration damage, and with over 1.2 meters worth of penetration, anything you hit is basically turned into mincemeat. But that's not all for the weapons, we come on to our final one. As I mentioned at the beginning of this segment, you can also carry Mistral air-to-air missiles. At the time of the release into the game a few years ago, these were by far the strongest air-to-air missiles in helicopter battles. They are all-aspect infrared guided missiles and have an all-aspect lock range of 6 kilometers. They travel very fast at 2.5 Mach and have a maximum overload of 12 Gs, 20% better than the American Stingers. They also have a much larger TNT warhead. Whereas the American Stinger contains around 0.8 kilos of TNT, the Mistrals carry 1.78 kilos, giving them a great top speed, great guidance, and a great warhead. Even though this helicopter has been out for a long time, the Mistrals still remain one of the best air-to-air missiles currently in the game. Well, that's all there is for the weapons, lads. In terms of its air-to-air capabilities, the Tiger HAP is very competent with its Mistral missiles and 30mm cannon. It is a little let down though when it comes to its air-to-ground capabilities. The terrible range of the HOT-3s mean you can't really stay outside of the SPA range, whereas a KA-50 can happily sit at 10 kilometers away, and the American and British Apaches at 8 kilometers away. You have to get really close to the battlefield in this thing, down to around 4 meters. At that sort of range, enemies with laser rangefinders can basically just shoot you, and you're basically a sitting duck for a Tunguska or a top tier equivalent SPA system. Before we get into the conclusion, let me know down below what you guys think about the Tiger HAP. Which helicopter, tank, plane or ship you guys would like to see reviewed next. Long gone are the days where the Tiger HAP was one of the most dominant helicopters in War Thunder. While it's still pretty good for grinding out the French helicopter tree, it is no longer what I would say competitive in helicopter arcade battles, as well as most scenarios in ground realistic battles. The bad range of your anti-tank missiles just kind of leaves you very vulnerable. You have to get insanely close to the battlefield, which is basically suicide with top tier SPAs currently in game. While at battle rating 10.0, there is the possibility of being down tiered. Most of the time you are going to be fighting peer, if not higher battle rating opponents. The helicopter is still fast and agile, which can allow you to dodge some incoming missiles, mainly giving you the ability to duck quickly behind cover such as trees and mountains. But the lack of effective long-range anti-tank missiles is the biggest downside of this helicopter. The good Mistral air-to-air missiles, 30mm cannon, and generally all around good performance of the helicopter doesn't really make up for this lack of long range firepower, especially when the main reason for buying a premium helicopter is for ground realistic battles and taking out enemy tanks. If you want to grind out the French helicopter tree, then the Tiger HAP is a pretty decent choice, and is certainly a better option to grind out the French helicopter tree than the H-34 or the various Alouettes. But for a helicopter costing 7,700 golden eagles, the best part of 50 British pounds, it is not very good value for money in my opinion. You could get the KA-50 for that money, and the KA-50 is just such a much better helicopter. Alright lads, I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, please do consider subscribing to the channel. You can also leave a like and a comment, which again, also boosts me in the algorithm, helping my channel to grow. You can also follow me on Twitter as well as Twitch, and if you're a huge fan of the channel, you can become a member of the YouTube channel, which will give you a unique icon next to your comment, in both comments under videos and on YouTube live streams. Once again, thank you very much for watching this far into the video lads, and I'll see you in the next one.